Well, summer is over and here we are again with a new season for the blog. And I think a good start is this video. Why? Well, because when you work as I do as a trainer and you see your students doing well, succeeding, passing tests, doing interesting things, I think you have to give them a chance. So that's why we have Leah with us today, because she's going to talk about a new project, which is called InterpretimeBank. First of all, what's InterpretimeBank? Exactly, and how do you come up with the idea?
InterpretimeBank is an online practice community for professional interpreters and interpreting students, and it's based on 3 ideas. The first idea is that we wanted to form a virtual online community. The second idea is that since we believe time is the most equitable and valuable resource we have, it's based on the concept of a time bank. And it is also a response to the new reality of our profession, in which it is very difficult for new graduates to enter the labor market. This project is not new though, it started in 2014. At that time, a former classmate of La Laguna asked us if we wanted to form a type of time bank so that we could keep practicing the skills that had been so hard to acquire during the training, and skills that are so difficult to maintain once you start looking for work and you are waiting for the first contracts to roll in. So during the masters we realized that accessing the market, whether it is the institutional market or the private market, was not going to be as easy as our trainers had told us, and our experience would be much tougher than the one that our trainers had. So we soon realized that there was no more golden age for us. This idea of the time bank started to develop at that point. At that moment, InterpretimeBank was a closed Google Plus community, and it was used to schedule the practicing with all the members. And because scheduling was particularly difficult at that time, given that all of us had moved away from Tenerife and were spread all over the world, from Mexico to Russia, from Morocco to Colombia, and Germany, England, everywhere.
You mentioned the new reality of our profession. What do you mean by that?
Well, there was a time when interpreters got over 100 days of work after graduating, and these days are obviously over. This is not the reality of our generation anymore. The reality of a Spanish booth new graduate, and I believe for many other booths as well, is that it is very difficult to access the labor market. It means that we are in a situation where there are more qualified interpreters than ever, and we are facing an unprecedented competition and external pressure. What does it mean? Well, this translates into very few days of work per year, and at the same time, you'd better be at your best when the first contract comes around, because your permanence in the market is highly dependent on your performance and on the trust you generate amongst other colleagues and recruiters. And as a newcomer, you cannot afford to deliver anything but top quality. So you here kind of enter a vicious circle. How are you supposed to deliver great quality to be competitive enough if you have no experience? And how are you supposed to gain experience when you have so little work and contacts to know how you work? We believe that the only way out is to practice. And not just any kind of practice, but deliberate practice, the kind in which you have carefully designed activities and you set your goals and you receive loads of quality feedback from other professionals.
And why an online community?
Well, we're living a shifting paradigm. We are experiencing an explosion of applications and devices all connected to internet, and this also happens in our profession. I mean, video and remote interpreting are gaining ground, whether we like it or not. And we thought it was better to be prepared and try to influence this trend from within, rather than doing nothing and denying a trend that is unstoppable.
Yeah, it's there. Mm-hmm.
There are also many groups that meet regularly to practice in different cities, and there are also very good initiatives like the WISE workshops that also meet every year.
Yeah.
And we think that face-to-face practicing has an undeniable value.
Yeah, of course.
But sometimes these groups or these kind of workshops are not accessible for everybody, and we thought this was no reason enough to just stop practicing. Practicing online doesn't mean that you don't have to take care of the good practices of our professions. On the contrary, good practices of interpreting should be upheld and should be respected no matter what the communication channel is.
And tell me, Leah, how does it work?
Well, InterpretimeBank is indeed a time bank. We all have the same amount of time a day. We all have 24 hours, and it's up to us to decide how we spend these 24 hours. Let's say, for example, somebody wants to practice to improve the skills he or she gets paid for. So he obviously or she will make time for it. But since in our profession, it is very necessary that another professional listens to the performance you're delivering and gives you accurate feedback. We thought it was fair to give back the time spent on you. If you pull the time of different professionals together, the chances to gain this time back are bigger because you do not depend on a single person's personal calendar to get the time paid back on you. It works as a time bank, as I said. So when somebody spends time on you, your account gets debited, and when you give time to somebody, your time credit increases. Although InterpretimeBank is an online community, the practice is done on a one-to-one basis, and the person who requests the exchange is responsible for providing the practicing materials and for setting specific goals he or she wants to work on, because this is part of the respectful attitude we would all expect from our colleagues out there.
What makes InterpretimeBank unique?
Its present and its future. Currently, we have a team of 5 amazing women working 24/7 to bring InterpretimeBank into its new reality. It's Aline Casanova, Nuria Campoy, Monica Diaz, and Ana Svalova, all graduates, and myself. We are all graduates of the master's program in La Laguna. InterpretimeBank has members from all over the world, and this is very enriching because you can search and find a person speaking a specific language variant and with a unique perspective. We also have a restriction for the membership. You have to be either a professional interpreter or an interpreting student of a master's. And we have a similar policy for interpreters of public services. Because the reason of this restriction is that we want to assure that there is a good quality feedback available. Because we obviously think that quality is paramount in terms of improving your skills.
And Leah, what plans do you have for the future? New things coming in InterpretimeBank?
Many of the Google Plus members told us that although the idea was great and it was free, Google Plus wasn't the right platform because it wasn't easy or comfortable to use. For example, the registration of time had to be done manually. It was difficult to communicate with other users personally. Sometimes it could be confused with the forum, and it generated way too many messages. So now we decided to embark on a startup and bring InterpretimeBank into a custom-made platform that will be better for our users. And amongst the characteristics of this new platform, I would say that the matching of the languages to generate exchanges will be done automatically. So, for example, if you request feedback from English into German, your message will be sent only to the users with the relevant combination, not to the entire community. So we lower the amount of messages. Also, it will be easier to track the time, and you can follow your time track on your profile, on every user's profile. And we will keep the flexibility many users value a lot in terms of the communication platform, because we have users that prefer to use Google Hangouts, other users prefer to use Skype or even FaceTime.
So I understand the platform is ready then. Can we use it now?
No, and the platform will be ready very soon. And since we believe in collaborative work, we will launch a crowdfunding campaign
when?
In order to finance our project. It will be launched by the end of this month.
Okay,
and
end of the month.
and we hope to have the platform ready very, very soon. But if people want to stay tuned and want to receive more news about when the releases are going to take place and so on, I'd recommend to follow us on Twitter, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and also on the old Google Plus community.
Okay. Well, thank you, Leah. Thank you very much. A lot of information, which I think is going to be useful to everyone. So now you know it. InterpretimeBank. So just follow them.